Okay.
Welcome to Money and Meaning, Kinder Institute of Life Planning's blog, where we tell the stories of registered life planner professionals from around the globe. I'm Lora Woodward, Chief Operating Officer for Kinder Institute, and this is our I'm a Registered Life Planner series. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Eleanor Brownn, owner of Brownn Consulting based in Los Angeles, California. Eleanor has a master's degree in behavioral science, has had a long career in public health, and now runs a consulting firm focused on self-care, particularly for providers in healthcare and human services. Welcome, Eleanor.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah,
Great to be here.
I'm so glad you are. So let's start by hearing a bit of your backstory. So how did you come to be a registered life planner, kind of in this second or perhaps third act in life, where you are running your own consulting group, you're an author, and you're just doing some amazing work out there. So tell us how you got to be where you are.
Well, I sort of came to the Kinder Institute in a roundabout way because I am a gerontologist. I'm in the field of aging. And it was about a decade ago, I went to a conference and I learned about George Kinder, and he ended up being a speaker on a call. And I loved it. When I first heard it, what he was doing and the kind of work he was doing. I loved it because it took into perspective the whole life. It was like a holistic kind of approach, and it was also a mindfulness component to it. I just loved it. Except I wasn't a financial planner, so I thought, oh, this is great, but it's not for me. But I started thinking, I wonder if I could incorporate this some kind of way into my work.
Yeah.
And so over the years, and really it was about a decade. Every now and then I think about it. I took the 7 stages of money management. I sort of tipped in and out. And then in 2020, COVID hit.
Mm-hmm.
And the community that I was in, which was senior services, and I was working, primarily with people of color, were very hard hit by COVID. And it got me thinking about my own life and what I wanted to do. And that brought me back to life planning. And I decided to do the training.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, what happened.
That's a powerful story, because so many people were hit by COVID in a way to look at those, really the 3 questions that George came up with. That third question of what would you do on not what would you do on the last day, but what does it mean? Like, who did you not get to be? What did you not get to deliver into the world? And for us to have that in such a stark contrast in our lives, and to feel it so realistically, I feel like it really shifted a lot of things for people. And it's amazing to hear your story. So having become a registered life planner in 2021, how have you been integrating this work into working with clients?
Well, so many people, at first I had to practice, right? So doing the training is great. I mean, the mentorship was awesome, get a chance to practice. And I started practicing with the population that I was working with, which were people in their 70s, 80s. And, it was interesting because so many people said, no one has ever listened to me before. I mean, to be at that stage of life and have the unique experience, because my first thought was, people may not be life planning. Why would you want to do life planning when you're 80?
Yeah.
But it's really about listening, being a compassionate listener, identifying what's important to people, helping them, talk about that and get clear about that. So it actually was quite a natural fit. I was surprised, that it dovetails so easily into the work I was doing. And for the work that I'm doing now, because I did start my own company, I focus mainly on what I call women in the middle. These are women that are sort of midlife, mid-career, and they've never really thought, they've been too busy taking care of other people that they've never taken care of themselves. And so I mean, it's just a natural fit, to do the 3 questions, to do, the EVO part of the process, with the people I'm working with. It's almost like I don't want to say it's really not life coaching because it's not an ongoing process. But it's something that's a way to get to know people, to help people, to support people in a very structured way. And that's what I especially love about this method. It's very structured. It's not just a random kind of thing. You can really learn how to do it and get better at it, as you do it. So it was a natural fit. I keep thinking, I'm not a financial planner. It's not going to work. It's perfect. It's applicable to so many areas.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful to hear. And so what we have found that this methodology, while George, being a financial planner and an accountant, it was a natural fit for other people in the finance industry. But we've heard from doctors, pastors, other, helping professionals.
I could see that.
This is just such a good fit because we do train you to listen. And that's a skill that not many people, like growing up, learn. And yet it's a way of, I think of it as a healing skill to just be able to listen to somebody.
And, that's so true. And listening with compassion.
Yeah.
Without judgment, with the intention to be, how can I help you do what you want to do? That, it's very rare. If you think about your own life, how many times did you really have that or feel that?
Right.
Part of the training was that we did our own life plan, which was, it was miraculous and so, and so moving, and to see other people as well go through that process in the training and see how, you could really see a shift. You could really see a change. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I have nothing but good things to say and a good feeling about this training. And I'm always learning new ways to apply it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about your own life plan, because that's a core kind of aspect of our training program, is that we want you to walk the talk and talk the talk. We want you to live it, your life plan. So what came up for you personally through the life planning process, and how did you manifest that in your own life?
Well, one of the things that came up during the training that I did was I wanted to write a book. And God, I kind of get chills thinking about it right now. And when Louis gave me my torch, and I guess the people listening to that will know what that all means. The book was in there. And I had been dragging my feet on that book for a long, I'm more the hare than, or the tortoise rather than the hare. That's and now at my age, this decade of life, that's who I am. That's so I had been, forever wanting to do this book, and Louis put it in my torch. And that was 21. And I finished the book at the end of 22.
Wow.
And I just released it a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And that is definitely, and another piece of that, again, with the 3 questions, it's interesting because I had a health scare in December. I guess it was November. And ended up in the ER, Cedars, the whole bit.
Oh my.
And I was lying there hooked up to all these machines. And I thought of the 3rd question. In that, what came to me was like, wow, I never did that book.
Wow.
And that was November.
Yeah.
And in January, I released the book. I got through the health scare. It turned out, it wasn't anything. It was, it wasn't what we thought it was, blah, blah, blah. But that torch was relit. It was like, oh, that book. That was what came to me, was I was lying there. I didn't do that book.
Yeah.
So that is a very tangible piece of evidence of what my life plan did for me, and other things about my company. A lot of things have happened. I left senior services, at least being a director of that center. I moved on. It's like, wow, this is not a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do I really want to do? And I had identified what I really wanted to do, and now I'm chipping away at it bit
Ah,
by bit.
wow.
I
Yeah.
really believe in the process. I know it changes. It changed me. Let me say
Yeah.
that. And I got clients. It's like, in fact, it's like, yeah, I need to really, it's inspired me to keep with my life plan, because I see other people doing things and
Yeah.
they're getting ahead of me. So
That
yeah.
is one of the brilliant things about working with clients, is as they're living into their life plans, you're like, oh yeah, I'm feeding off of their energy too, and I gotta live
Like,
mine.
this works. It
Yeah.
actually works. That grid
They're
is
seeing you.
working
That's
for
great.
them. So let me do it too.
Well, speaking
Yeah.
of clients, so do you have a client success story that you'd be willing to share with us?
I have a client success story, and I have to be careful not to slip and use her real name. I'm going to call her
Of course, yeah.
Linda. But Linda, yeah, yeah. In fact, I have several poster children, but I'll share about Linda's story. She's in her early 60s, here in LA, worked in senior services. Had a nice career, but was a little frustrated, feeling a little stuck. And she wanted to do something different, but using her expertise. And she also wanted to get out of the city, LA, very urban place. She wanted to go back to Georgia, where she's from originally. And so we worked together. We came up with a plan. She ended up leaving Southern California. It wasn't a midnight train to Georgia, but it was. She went back to Georgia with her husband and doing what she loves. She loves music, so she wanted to focus on her music. And she also still wanted to work in senior services, but just in a different kind of way. And she's actually doing that. She just sent me a text actually a couple of weeks ago that she got this great part-time job, it's perfect part-time, doing what she loves to do in Georgia, with plenty of time to do her music. And she's in her 60s, and she wasn't sure how she was gonna make it all work. And we just, came up with a plan. She actually really focused in, because she wanted to do this. Again, it was kind of a COVID story, because working in senior services was just very hard hit. People wanted to make some changes career-wise. And she's very happy, and she had to convince her husband to do it, and he's happy, she's happy. She's doing her music, she's doing senior services in Georgia, and it came from the life plan.
Yeah.
It came from the life plan. She said she started to see it was really viable to do this. If we just come up with some baby steps, a plan. She checks in with me about once a month, about what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's very, very
Yeah, fulfilled.
fulfilled. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another
Wow.
client who wrote a book. She wanted to do a book.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't let her beat me, so I had
Yeah, that's great. There's always that competitiveness. Oh, wait.
and these women are all, mature, like in the women
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, that's such a perfect testimonial, because as you're describing about the life planning process being so much about listening, but also these questions that we ask allow the client to really explore what is meaningful to them, and to vocalize that, hear it back, and then to feel the emotion of it. They start moving. And they move faster than they've ever thought to move before, because they're not thinking, they're actually feeling their way through.
And that's where the compassionate listening and the whole, and Louis was really, I want to be Louis when I grow up, even though I think I'm older than Louis. That, the way there's something about it that really does get people to the core of what it is that they want or what they feel or what they truly value. And, one of the things I learned in the training was to keep asking them, is there anything else? Is there anything else? And it's so true. What usually comes out is like the fourth or fifth time, say, is there anything else? They'll say, no, there's nothing else. And then you wait.
Mhm.
Is there anything else? And something always emerges. And it's usually something that's really, really, important
Right.
to them. So yeah, it really does work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, so as a life planner, what would be some advice that you would have to somebody who's just starting out in this
Mm.
profession?
Practice.
Mm,
Practice. Because if you follow up my timeline, there was some time elapsed, between training and doing things,
yeah.
and you lose it if you don't use it. And
Mhm.
so my advice would be practice on get guinea pigs. It doesn't have to be clients. It could be,
Yeah.
people, or friends or kids or anybody to practice the process.
Yeah.
So practice, number one, to let go of doing it perfectly. It's really, first of all, the client doesn't know you're not doing it perfectly. You're not doing it according to the manual.
Mhm.
And also, it boils down to listening to people with compassion. So if you do that, if you just listen, with a genuine heart to help them, you'll be fine. So if you're new, don't worry about doing it perfectly. Just do it. Just do it. Practice, practice, practice. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, that's wise advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what might be next in your personal life planning journey?
Well, I want to develop my online business so that I can travel. And
Mm,
in my torch are a couple of places, Paris and Melbourne. I'd really like to spend, and I've been to both of those places, and I've spent time in both of those places. But the great thing about this is that this practice, you can do it anywhere. And so really my life plan is to travel more and spend some extended time. Rwanda is another location that
mm.
I'm looking at, um, to spend some time in places outside of the United States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
I can
I
feel
think
that.
it's possible. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why
With
not?
a plan, right?
Let's make it happen.
Make it happen.
Oh, wow. Well, this has been such a pleasure, Eleanor. Anything else before we go?
I would just say if anybody is thinking about doing this, do it. Do it because it has such practical application, not only in your business, but also for you personally. So it's kind of a win-win. So that would be, what I would say, just do it. And, like I said, it was love at first sight when I first heard about it, but I thought, oh, maybe not. It's not, we can always come up with reasons why not. And I finally did it, and I'm so glad I did. So yeah, that's what I would leave people with, explore, just check it out, do it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.